Hey, everybody. I'm Eric from Agile Ad Testing. And today I've got one of my most successful clients, Tim Packer, who's joining us to talk about how they boosted their engagement, boosted their posts, boosted their sales as they got into our program. Tim, I really appreciate you coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
Tell us who you are and what do you do?
Okay, yeah, well, I'm Tim Packer. I was actually a very successful artist up in Canada, and recently, I guess in 2020, decided what I really wanted to do was shift my focus from me just creating paintings and making lots of money off my work to sharing what I've learned with other aspiring artists. So hopefully, be able to change other people's lives and let them live their dream. And so we formed our online art academy in 2020. This is my son Cameron, so he's my partner in this. We work together. And it's actually a really good mix too, because I'm the creative and I'm on that. And Cameron is very much in the analytics. His nickname is the Rain Man because he's very good at numbers and stats, but he's also very good at building this. We did reasonably well initially because I already had a fairly good social media following. But then what we found out was after that first year, pretty much everybody who knew me on social media who wanted to buy a course had bought a course. And so then the question became, how do we go about reaching the rest of the world who's to that point had never heard of me? And then that's where we started getting into paid ads and things like that. And then that eventually has led us to working with you over the last several months now.
So, what was some of the frustrations and problems you were having before we started working together?
Okay, one of the big ones that I had, we'd actually just walked away from doing social media and we were just focusing on the paid ads because I found like I do have the ability to create some posts that get a lot of engagement. But then what that meant is I'm spending hours answering people's comments on social media. I don't want to be doing that. So we actually moved totally away from doing the social media and we were just focused on paid ads, which again was okay. We were generating a profit, but we were still paying it. I think we were getting maybe like a 1.5 return was like our highest return on the ads, which again was still good, but we know that was not great. And so that was, I guess, the biggest frustration that I had before is like I knew social media was important, but I didn't want to get back into that situation that I was on before where it seemed like a treadmill where every day I was spending an hour to an hour and a half answering people's comments, answering their questions. The whole idea for this whole online art academy was to have more of a kind of create it and let it continually just go on its own and create content that was evergreen, but that didn't continually need my personal interaction with it.
So, there are many programs out there. What made you want to start working with me?
I think first of all, like we'd had some interactions prior to us actually start working together, and I know you've got a long history in kind of ads and analytics and like hooks and like hook rate, knowing all of the KPIs that are important, and also knowing, feeling confident that when you put an ad out and it's not working, like why is it not working? Is it the hook? Is it the hold rate? Or even on like a landing page, like where are you losing people? And I had a lot of confidence that you're very good at that, that even if we have something out there that's working, we can tweak it to make it work better. Or if we have something that's not working, we can figure out this is the part where we're losing people and we just need to change that rather than just continually cranking out like brand new pieces of content over and over and brand new landing pages and just hoping something works. So it was the confidence that you, with your ability to help us actually analyze the key kind of things to be able to say why something's working, why it's not, and what we needed to change. Part of it was just confidence that, yeah, you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, and that's what we needed help with.
What was the first problem you solved when we started working together?
It was the answering comments and questions. Literally the very first piece of the very first conversion multiplier we did, the 60-second reel with the whole idea. It was for a cheat sheet for 10 most common compositional weaknesses. It was a really good 60-second reel, and it was just like type cheat sheet in the comments and we'll send you that cheat sheet right away. And I know initially we said, well, just get the stuff rolling and then we'll work on the automation. That very first post went viral. Right now it's over 500,000 views. And initially we were getting 3 or 4 requests for the cheat sheet every minute within about a day or so. Um, so Cameron was actually on there responding, and I know I reached out to you and I said, Eric, we got to get this automation done now because it's actually going crazy. And you were very helpful. We were able to get it working within a day, where all of a sudden this thing was automated, sending, not just sending people the cheat sheet, but engaging in conversation and then sending them to the cheat sheet page, which had links to our eBoo videos and just all that. And this post went crazy. Like it's still going steady, but I think we got 300,000 views in the first like week, I want to say. But there was like in the first weekend, there was a 10,000 comments, which is exactly why I'm saying I don't want conversations, because before I actually had something go viral on LinkedIn before. And so we wanted to run with it, but I was spending 4 hours a day answering comments for like about 5 days. And I don't want to do that. So this was great. Once we got the automation hooked up, it was just running in the background, and I would just check. I was checking. I was, oh, we're at 150,000 views. Oh, now we're at 200,000 views. And I had Cameron just going through and monitoring the comments. And then every once in a while, there was a question or a comment that I needed to answer that he would then just forward to me. But that was like once a day or twice a day or something like that, which again is, especially on a post that's going viral, if I only have to answer 1 or 2 questions or comments, and usually it was someone who was interested in taking our courses or finding out how they could learn more with me or whatever. We've got now, I think, about 6 or 7 of the power content running. We've got about 6 or 7 of the conversion multipliers running for several different value bombs. And they're all doing really well, and they're all generating higher views than what we normally got before. And they're all generating very little requirement for involvement with me, even though they're getting a ton of engagement, and almost all of it's happening just in the background with the automation. And like I say, Cameron just goes on once or twice a day just to go through to monitor, to pick out if there's a comment. It's, oh, Dad, I think you should probably talk to this person because I think they'll probably end up joining the academy. Yeah, literally with the very first one we did, just as a result of that post, I picked up, I think, about so far 6,000 new Instagram followers.
That's amazing.
And I've been on Instagram for 8 years, worked really hard, generating tons of content to get my viewership. I had about 15,000 followers or 16,000 followers when this started, and now I'm just shy of 23,000 followers. Yeah, it was crazy.
So Tim, what was the biggest gold nugget you found inside the program that you could share with somebody in the same position you're in, who might be watching this video right now?
I think the biggest thing is, like I said, I've been doing social media for 7 years and been fairly successful at it. But it was always just a scattergun type approach. Oh, I'll do a post here for this. I'll do a post here for that. Some stuff will be successful, some stuff isn't. And also the fact that it was like a continuing treadmill, that it's like new content. And I feel now with that whole kind of the content flywheel, with the very specific types of content, we've got the power content, we've got the conversion multipliers, we've got the ads, that we've got a strategy going forward that, okay, we need to produce a bunch of content in this box, a bunch of content in this box. Then we need to produce ads for that. But the whole idea too is that, yeah, we're going to be producing a ton of content over the next year. But then by the end of that year, if we've got 70 or 80 conversion multiplier, 70 or 80 power content, I'm then going to back off from producing content. And it's just a matter of rotating in the content, and you keep the ones that are performing well and the other ones come out. But then 6 months later, that piece of content from 6 months ago, now that comes back into the mix. And so we've got not only a strategy to maximize our returns right now, but a strategy to create a whole library of content that's going to be very much self-sustaining, where I don't need to be creating 5 new pieces of content every week for the rest of my life. I'm very excited about that.
How has your life changed since we started working together?
I am not on my phone. That's the biggie. And you knew that was for me. Listen, I don't want any sort, I don't care how much money we're bringing in or how successful something is. If I need to be on my phone an hour and a half a day and checking every 3 hours and going through, that's not something that I want. And also, I'm in my 60s now. The whole idea of the Art Academy too is to create something that's evergreen, that lasts beyond me. Again, the whole idea of creating something that for it to continue to be successful, that continually needs involvement for me 5, 10, 20 years from now, that was not part of the plan. The whole idea was to create a kind of a system of combining ads and organic that will continually bring new people into the ecosphere, get them on board on the Art Academy, but without requiring continued involvement for me. Because the whole idea is that Cameron's going to run with this business long after I'm gone. Be like Bob Ross, the curly haired
Sure.
guy, right? Bob Ross Inc. still brings in over $1 million a year, and he's been dead for 40 years. So that's the plan.
Oh my God. I was going to make a comment about dead artists. I'm sorry.
I love Bob Ross. I love Bob Ross. You know what? I look at it like this. Bob Ross actually was very instrumental in bringing a lot of people to painting who never ever would have even considered painting. And I look at my kind of thing as basically people who are already artists and interested in painting. My thing is to help them actually earn some money and make a living from their art. But I love Bob Ross. Nothing wrong with Bob Ross.
So where do you think you would be right now if you didn't take action and start working with me?
We'd still just be focusing on paid ads, and we'd be doing okay, but we'd be doing kind of 1.5 to maybe 1.75 return on ad spend. And now with the combination of doing the organic social media and again, the power content, the conversion multipliers and all that, and the ads together, our return on ad spend is now between 2 and 3. And we're sometimes spending 500, 600, $800 a day on ads. So the difference between 1.5 and 2 or 2.5 or 3 is actually huge when it comes to profits. And not only that, like I say, we feel very confident now about our strategy going forward, where we've been, again, this kind of scattered approach, which sometimes is hit, sometimes is miss.
So basically what your sales was at a certain rate before we started working. Where is
Yeah.
it?
It's got to be, what is it, close to double? The
Yeah.
return, yeah. So the return on ad spend is close to double of what we were getting when we just focused on the ads. And again, like you say, when you're spending a fair amount on a daily basis, that's a huge difference because, yeah, all that extra is profit. So yeah, it's just like the return on ad spend, just that's been the big thing. And we knew that was what we had to do going in. Again, I think last year we spent 90,000 on ads, and we did 220,000 in total sales. But a lot of that too was sales that we generated through our email, kind of retargeting people who were on our list and a couple of big promotions. But our overall return on ad spend, just like directly attributable to ads, like I say, it was probably only around 1.5. And now all of our ads are in that 2 to 3 return on ad spend, which again, if there's people watching who don't think that's huge, it's incredibly huge.
Wow. Yeah. It's so in hard numbers. What was the increase after you started working?
All I can tell you is that last year, again, we also had a lot of other things going on that we've improved this year, but last year it took us until May 12th to hit 50,000 in earnings. And we just started working with you. What was it? It was in December, right? December. So this year we hit 50,000 in earnings in the second week of February.
It's amazing.
So
yeah, that's a good hard number.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone watching that's on the fence about joining this program and working with me, what would you say to them?
I'd say to them that probably the two most valuable resources that you have is your time and your money. And if you don't have the expertise of someone really like the whole social media, Facebook, Instagram ads, that whole landscape is incredibly complex. And there are so many specific things when you talk about, like, again, like the hook rate and the dog whistle. Like, there's so many concepts now that are part of my conversation, part of my normal conversations, where I didn't even know they were things until we started working together. And there was so many things I was doing wrong, even with the social media content and the ads that we're doing that were okay. And I was wasting a lot of time, first of all, creating scripts that didn't even have a dog whistle, right? So targeting the wrong people, missing the people I was supposed to be targeting, didn't understand all this stuff, wasting all the time, first of all, writing the script, then wasting the time filming and editing an ad that had some serious flaws at the outset that you could just identify. Hey, you're not even targeting who it is that this is for. That's the very first thing. And then the whole promise of value, and then the humble brag, but giving that whole kind of structure to it. So you're wasting your time, and then you're wasting your money, even if it is returning somewhat. If you're spending $300 and you're getting $400 return, that's better than nothing. But if you're spending $300 and getting $900 return, that's a hell of a lot better. And so the big thing is now I feel very confident I'm not wasting a lot of time on creating the creative where there's serious flaws in it. I know now I have the structure of kind of what it needs to be. And then I also have you to fine tune things afterwards.
Well,
and I found that
helps.
the script writing is so important. Like, the structure is so important. That very first reel that we did that went viral, it was just basically following the template that you gave us about here's how it goes. So it's like, you're going to end up wasting a lot of money and wasting a lot of time on things that are not as good as they could be, or things that are just going to not work at all. And the worst part is you're not even going to know why they're not working. And that's the problem. Then you just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And maybe once in a while you have an ad or a post that goes good, but if you don't know why it went well, then you can't replicate it. Whereas now we're in a system where I feel very confident about that, creating content, replicating the stuff that's working really well. And yeah, that it's just going to get better and better. And just that confidence too. It's an incredibly complex ecosphere in terms of to do well in it. And you can go on YouTube, right, and just blow your mind and watch 300 hours of experts telling you what to do and come away and still have no idea.
That's
So
what we've helped to avoid. So
yeah. And so just having the direction and having you to walk us through it, put us on track if we're going off. And then again, I just can't say enough that when we had that one go viral, like, it was on the weekend too. I think it was a Saturday when you actually got that working for us, so that because I think it popped on the Friday, and that's when I reached out to you. So also just the fact that you were there for the support and to be able to get that working for us. Yeah.
I think we had it Friday night, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was over the weekend. It was after normal working hours anyways.